all I do is grow, grow, grow no matter what. Got growth on my mind, I could never give up. And every time I get that sinking feeling that makes me feel stuck. Another math lesson with Miss Jones, okay? Today we're going to learn how to write and interpret numerical expressions and compare them using a visual model. So let's get into it. First thing we'll start off with is the joke of the day. Hey, check this out. I'm full of keys, but I can't open any door. What am I? Drum roll, please. Thank you, drum roll. And the answer is, I am a piano. If you said piano, brilliant. Brilliant. All right, let's get started. In order to be successful in today's math lesson, we're going to need to remember some vocabulary terms or math vocabulary from maybe 3rd and 4th grade, maybe even 2nd grade. And then we'll add on a couple of new definitions that you'll need to be successful. So the first 4 terms we're going to look at, we're going to remember that the sum is the result of adding 2 or more numbers, okay? The result of adding 2 or more numbers. Should say adding, okay? And difference is the result of subtracting one number from the other. Product is the answer when 2 or more numbers are multiplied together, okay? And if you see the word quotient, then that's the answer you're going to get after you divide one number by another. So let's test ourselves really quickly. Let's see if we know what these terms mean. Take a look one more time. Here we go. All right, so we have our terms up here. I'm going to give you just 30 seconds to kind of look through these look at these math sentences and see if you can match up in your mind or on a piece of paper what 4 plus 3, would that be the difference, the quotient, the sum, or the product? You're going to do the same thing with 4 minus 3, 4 divided by 3, and 4 times 3. You have a few more seconds to think that through. Okay, let's see if you were correct. Let's see if you were correct. If you matched them up just like I have matched mine up, I'm sure you did. 4 plus 3, the result of that would be the sum. 4 minus 3, the result of that number sentence would be the difference. 4 divided by 3, the result of that division sentence would be the quotient. And 4 times 3, the result of that would be the product. I'm going to go ahead and drop a little confetti for you because I'm sure you answered that correctly. Now let's go ahead and add on to some additional definitions that we need to know. So if we take a look here, our next definition is expression, okay? An expression is simply when we group numbers and math symbols together to show the value of something. So a really important note is that expressions do not have an equal sign. So we'll see lots of expressions today as we work, and we'll also have to create some expressions based on the visual model that we see. It'll make more sense when we get into the math. The last definition I want us to take a look at is evaluate. If we're evaluating a number, we're simply trying to find the value of that mathematical expression. So you can see here in yellow, we have a mathematical expression. And if we wanted to find the value of that expression, we would simply just do the math to evaluate it and determine the solution. So I'm going to show scholars how to successfully do that, okay? That's what we're learning today. We're going to kind of be like a detective. Speaking of being like a detective, I actually have some people that I brought with me to do this math. I want you to go ahead and say hi to some of the scholars in my 5th grade class. Let me go ahead and get out of the way so you can see them and you can say hi. So they'll be working with us, okay? They are working and doing the math with us. And they, as we work through this math, I'm sure they'll have some questions, and hopefully together we can solve these math. They're almost like riddles, okay? Math riddles, okay? Or math code. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so when I am on my phone, sometimes, people will text me, you guys get text messages, I'm sure, okay? So when we get a text message, I know sometimes instead of writing the entire word, sometimes people will write code. They'll say BRB or TTYL or LOL in my DMs. That's what they'll say. And what that really means is, hey, I'll be right back, or talk to you later, or laugh out loud. Now these codes are like a type of language, right? Because we know exactly what those letters mean, we can easily understand what to do next or how to respond to that person. Well, math is like a language, and today we're going to have some math expressions that have some math symbols, that have some numbers, have some words, and we're going to figure out or interpret, that means to figure out what that math code or what those expressions mean. So let's look at our first example here. Okay, so our goal here is to figure out the math expression. Okay, remember it doesn't have an equal sign, and our next task is to try to evaluate it. So the first thing I noticed with my tape diagram over there, my tape diagram over there, I noticed that I have 3 units, okay? 3 units, and they're exactly the same size. That's very, very important. And they're also telling me right underneath one of the units, they said one of the units is, it has a value of 5. One of those units has a value of 5. So if I have one unit with a value of 5, how could we find the value, the total value here? Well, we could start by writing an expression. And if I were writing an expression, I might write the following, and then I would evaluate that expression. So let's see what I might write. Well, for this example, if I put a 5 in each box, because the value is the same, they told me that, then I know that I could find the total value by adding those up, 5 plus 5 plus 5, or I could multiply 3 times 5, and that will give me 15. So if I evaluate that expression above, 3 times 5, that's 15. Now let's say, instead of having a 5 there, they said that the value of that box there, that one unit, is A, okay? Now, we don't know what A is, but they're telling us the value of it is A. What do you think I should do to find the value? What kind of expression can I write? Let me think about that. First of all, if your brother or sister is distracting you, please tell them. Please tell them to be quiet because you're doing math. Now that they're quiet, let's think about that. If I was evaluating that, I would do the same thing that I did in my last example. I will consider that each unit is the size, is A. It has a value of A. So my expression would be 3 times A, or I could do A plus A plus A. But a more efficient way to write it would be 3 times A. Now, I can't exactly evaluate this expression because I don't know the value of A, so I can only, at this point, just write an expression. Now, let's go ahead and step this skill up. Take a look at our next example. We're going to add on to this concept. We're going to add on to this. Now, I can see that I've been given another expression, but this time I have words. So let's read this together. Let's read our expression together. It says 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. So I already know that I have 3 units because it says 3 times. But what I must figure out is how I can represent these words and numbers as a numerical expression. So I want you to say with me, let's step it up. I hear you. I hear you. In fact, I hear my friends saying, you know what, Miss Jones, we're ready to step it up. So let's do that. I'm going to first write my words here. Excuse me, scholars. I'm going to first write my words 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. Now that I have that, I'm going to draw a tape diagram beneath it, and I'm going to try to see if I can use this picture to help me come up with a numerical expression that I'm going to write right underneath it. So one thing I remember from my picture, one thing I noticed from my words is that we have 3 times the sum of something. So that means at least I need to represent 3 units of the same thing. Now, what exactly, so I've represented that with my tape diagram, what exactly do they mean, the sum of 26 and 4? Well, one of these units, if I have 3 times that, that means I probably have 3 of these items. So one of these could be represented by, let me see, I can't remember. What does sum mean? Let me look back here. Do you guys remember what sum means? Do you remember? What did y'all say? Okay. I think they said if I see the word sum, I need to add, okay? So I'm going to put a plus sign above there. And let me go ahead and use that information to kind of write add a little bit more information to my tape diagram. So if I need to add, well, what am I adding? My unit says that it's the sum of 26 plus 4. So if one of these is 26 plus 4, I know that the next one is 26 plus 4 because they're the same size. And the next one is 26 plus 4. So if I think about this, I think about my last example where I had the letter A here, or I had the number 5. This time, I just have the sum. So I might represent this entire word. I might represent these words as the following math expression. I could say 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. I could say 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. And again, this is no different than if my unit was a 5 or if it was a letter A. I can see I have 1, 2, 3 units with that in it. So let's go ahead and go back and take a look at what that might look like if I'm writing it all out. Let's take a look. So I can see that expression would be 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. Now, if I want to evaluate that expression, then I must evaluate what's inside the parentheses first. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would I evaluate what's in the parentheses first? Well, the parentheses tells us what we're counting. And if we remember from our tape diagram, that parentheses tells us the value of each unit. That means I need to add these first so I know the value. So let's go ahead and add the value. What is the value of 26 plus 4? Well, I know very quickly 26 plus 4, the value of that is 30. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to evaluate that term by putting a 30 in each unit. Now, have I finished evaluating the entire term? No, because I have 3 times the sum of 26 and 4, or 3 times 30. So what I must do is I must go back and I must finish evaluating that expression. And here's how I might do it. So I might replace my 26 plus 4, or the sum of 26 and 4, and I might replace it with 30, and then I'm going to go ahead and multiply or use repeated addition. 3 times 30 will give me 90. So the value of this expression is 90. Not bad, not too bad. We just kind of added on or built on to what we had already learned, right? About the value of expression if 5 was our unit or if A was our unit. And now 26 plus 4, or 26 plus 4 is our unit, okay? Not much different. Now, I think we're going to need to step it up. Let's try one more example. I'm going to try one more example. All right, so now you'll see that in this example, we have 6 times the difference between 60 and 51. So already they've given me some clues about how to solve this. So I'm going to go ahead and chat with my friends and see if we could draw a picture really quick to kind of work through this math sentence that they've given us, okay? So let's take a look. Y'all doing all right back there? I think they're fine. They said they're ready for some more math. They said they are ready for some more math. So let's give it to them, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and begin by writing down my words that they've given me to kind of change into a numerical expression. I have 6 times the difference between 6 times the difference between 60, I'm going to write it right here, 60 and 51. 60 and 51. So let's see how we could figure this out. I'm going to begin by trying to draw a picture because that's going to help me with my thinking. Okay, so I'm going to draw a tape diagram again, and this time they told me 6 times, so that means I'm going to repeat that unit, whatever the unit is, 6 times. So I can represent that by drawing 5 vertical lines on my tape diagram to partition it into 6 sections. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My 5 vertical lines allows me to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal groups. So now let's think about that. I've already tackled the fact that I have 6 times something. Well, what do I have? I have 6 times something. 6 times the difference. Oh my gosh, they gave me another clue. They're trying to figure out, let me figure out this code. What in the world, what math operation should I use for difference? Y'all know? Again, I need your help. I don't remember. I know she said it. I wasn't listening entirely. So I needed some help, and my friends reminded me that the difference means subtraction, okay? The difference, that means I'm going to subtract. So what am I subtracting? What am I subtracting? Well, I'm subtracting the difference between 60 and 51. So my unit in this case is the difference. That means I subtract 60 minus 51. So I'm going to make that my unit for each one. Okay, 60 minus 51. 60. Now that I've done that, I can see that each unit is the same amount. That's how I know that I've drawn my tape diagram correctly, because they said we're doing 6 times that. That means we're going to repeat that, all right? So 6 times the difference of that. Now, I'm going to write that. I'm going to group that in parentheses, because the parentheses tells me my unit. It tells me what I'm counting over and over. And what I'm going to count in this example, I'm going to count each of these units and add them all up, okay? So I'm going to group in parentheses the difference of 60 minus 51, okay? That's how I would write it. So let's go ahead and take a look at how that might look, that might show up, okay? So we have our expression, 6 times the difference of 60 and 51. And what I might do is I might evaluate that expression. I'm going to go ahead and evaluate that. It means I'm going to find the solution. I know that 60 minus 51 is 9. So I replace that in my tape diagram, I replace that. Each unit now, because I've evaluated this term inside of the parentheses first. I evaluate what's inside of the parentheses first so I can know what I'm counting. Each term here is 9. So I have 9, 1, 2, 3, excuse me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of 9. 6 groups of 9. Well, 6 groups of 9, I know that answer very easily. That's 54, okay? So that's how I might evaluate that expression. So now we're going to shift gears really quickly and we're going to reverse it. What if you were given numbers and you have to now write the words, okay, for that numerical expression? Let's see how we might do that. Okay, so we're going to go from the numerical expression now to word form. Here's our first example. In our first example, we want to write the numerical expression 8 times 43 minus 13. Now, it seems like we should just write those numbers in that manner. But what I remember is that the parentheses tells me what I'm evaluating first. So I have to kind of explain what's in the parentheses. So I'm going to write my numerical expression. And then I'm going to see, well, what do I have in the parentheses? What is my unit? That's the question I'm asking. What am I counting? Well, I'm counting 8 of these things, whatever this is, okay? So let's see how I might write that expression. I'm going to start by writing what is in the parentheses. I have 43 minus 13. Well, what was the word that we used for subtraction? Oh, yeah. It was the difference between 43 and 13, okay? So now, what am I doing with the difference between 33, what am I doing with this? I think I'm multiplying it. So what I could write for this part is I'm just going to write 8 times the difference between 43 and 18. And 13. So we can see that that numerical expression, we break it down by first determining what unit are we multiplying. And let's figure out, why is that important? Why is that important? So I would write this in word form as 8 times the difference of 43 and 13. Okay. Now let's look at another example to see why the parentheses are so important. Let's see, what if I had the expression 20 times 3 plus 5 times 3? Now I'm over here thinking. You know what, y'all? I'm thinking, can I just write it like that? I mean, can I write it the way I read it? 20 times 3 plus 5 times 3? Would that work? Would that work? Do you guys know whether or not it would work? I don't know. Let me think. You know what? You all, I don't think that's going to work. I think that's a big, fat nope. Here's why. Here's why that won't work. Let's take a look. All right, if we have the expression 20 times, what was our expression? Let me just take a quick look. 20 times 3 plus 5 times 3. Again, the parentheses are kind of giving us instructions on what we're grouping together, like what units we have, okay? So we have to evaluate the expressions inside of that parentheses to know what to do. So let's say we didn't use the parentheses. Let's say I just multiplied 20 times 3. That gives me 60. Then I said, let me add 5 plus 5 times 3. So now I have 60 plus 5, that's 65. And then 65 times 3. Well, I'm going to go ahead and use the standard algorithm to multiply that. That'll give me 15. I bundle to the tens place, 18. That'll give me 195, okay? So I'm saying if I ignore those parentheses, I will get 195. Scholars, we cannot ignore the parentheses because it tells us what we're adding or counting. In this example, we have a unit of 20 times 3 and a unit of 5 times 3. So I must evaluate what's inside of the parentheses. 20 times 3 gives me 60, okay? 5 times 3 gives me 15. So then I would add them up. So if I'm writing that as a word sentence, I might say, I want you to find the sum of this and this. And here's how I might write it. I might say, I want you to find the sum of, I might want you to find the product of 20 and 3 plus the product of 5 and 3. That's one way I could write it. That's giving instruction that you have to multiply and find the product of 20 and 3 and then add the product of 5 and 3. Or you could say the sum of 20 threes and 5 threes. Whew, that was a lot, y'all. We are at the home stretch. So I hope that we figured out that math is like a language. It's like code. And if we know that code, we can figure it out. Okay. And so with that being said, to be successful in this lesson, we have to know and master that sum means the result of addition, difference means subtraction, quotient is division, and product is multiplication. As we get those things down and we practice drawing the model, I am certain we will master it. So keep growing, keep practicing, never give up. I'll see you in the next math lesson.